This time around we're going to learn the basics of spreadsheets using Google Sheets. So I'm going to go into my tech folder from Google Drive and we're going to create a new Google Sheets. The Microsoft equivalent of Sheets is called Microsoft Excel. This is a very powerful program that will let you do a lot of really cool things. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and give this a title. Today we're going to be working on what's called a theme park spreadsheet. The basic premise is this: we're going to go online and research the ticket prices of 5 major theme parks. We're going to put the data here into the spreadsheet. We're going to have the data do some calculations for us, and then in the end we're going to create a graph or a table from the data. So let's start with the most obvious theme park that everyone probably thinks of. For me, that's Disney World. I'm going to search for Disney World ticket prices. Okay, what I'm looking for is sort of the official site for Disney World. If I have any of these ads that pop up ahead of time, skip those. What I'm looking for is the Disney World site. And this is nice because it actually has this sort of calculator for us. It won't always do this. So what I'm looking for is the ticket price for one person for one day. Right now, it defaulted to a 4-day ticket for one person. That's not what I'm looking for. So for one person, I'm going to come back up here and we'll say one day, we'll just do the Magic Kingdom. Okay, that's going to come to a total of $111.83. So you can either write that down or just keep this open. I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet and we're going to begin to do some work. I'm going to say this first column, so columns go up and down. Think like an actual column in front of a building. They hold buildings up. This is column A. Rows go left to right or side to side. This is row 1. So this cell, this little box where I wrote the word theme park, is called a cell, is A1. This cell is C6. Think of it kind of like Battleship. So in A1 I wrote theme park. In B1 I'm going to write the word price. Since these are my headings, I'm going to go ahead and click on A1 again and make that bold. And I'm going to click on price and make that bold. And I'm going to go ahead down to A2 and I'm going to say my first one is Disney World, and then I'll specify Magic Kingdom. Alright, so A1 is not big enough to hold that phrase, and it's sort of bled into, A2 is not big enough, it's bled into B2. No problem. I'm going to come up here in between A and B, and when I see that double arrow, I can click and drag and make that bigger. I can also, just when I see the double arrow, double click and it will automatically resize that so it makes sense. The price, you'll recall, was $111.83. So I'm going to write price $111.83. Oops, not $11.83. That'd be great, but not going to happen. So let's see, $111.83. Now I have my first theme park done. What I've done here is I've gone ahead and picked 5 theme parks. Now for me, I just went ahead and made up numbers here for these theme parks. I want you to actually go and find the information yourself. It's good practice. I made it up both to make it go quicker to make this video and so you couldn't just steal all my answers. So go ahead, you're going to pick 5 theme parks. There are dozens of theme parks in this country. If for some reason one of the theme parks doesn't actually have its prices on the internet right now because it's off season, for example, maybe Busch Gardens Williamsburg is closed right now so they don't have it, pick another one. There are plenty. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to say, what we're going to do next is come down here. I'm going to skip a space and I'm going to say, let's say admission total and admission average. So we are going to figure out the total admission price if we were to go to all of these parks and the average price if we were to go to all of these parks. So you're probably thinking you might pull out your calculator or something like that, but that would be silly because we can do it right inside of Excel. So what we're going to do is we're going to use what's called a formula. A formula is any time that Google Sheets or Excel, they do the math for you inside the spreadsheet. And the important thing to remember when you start off with the formula is anytime you want that to happen, anytime you're creating a formula, you're going to click on the cell. This is B8. And we're going to start typing with the equals key. That tells Google Sheets that we are about to write a formula. Now we could put anything in here. We could say, for example, this is equal to 3 plus 6 and press enter. And now it made 9 because here's my formula, by the way. 3 plus 6 actually equals 9. If I were to change this to 3 plus 56 and press enter, it's doing that math for me. If I change the plus sign into the asterisk, which denotes multiplication, it's done it for me. All right, so you're saying, well, I don't need to know what 3 times 56 is. What I need to know is the actual sum of all of these. Well, there are a couple of ways for us to do this. One way is just to add them all up. So I press the equals key, and now I'm going to say, I'm going to click here. And you'll notice that in here it inserted B2. That is the actual cell. I could have written out B2, or I could just click on it. I could say B2, I'm going to write the plus key, B3, B4, you see where I'm going with this, B5, and B6, and I press enter. There you go. The other simpler way to do that is if I'm just adding a bunch of things up, there's a formula called sum. So if I just write equals sum, and I put a parenthesis, now I'm going to come here, I'm going to drag my mouse from here all the way down, and now I press enter. Same thing. So either way works. That second way is probably quicker. So this cell is equal to the sum of B2 through B6. That's what this means. And it does the math for me. Now for average, if I wanted to, I could say equals B2 plus B3 plus B4 divided by, or there actually is a formula for average as well. So I write equals average, parenthesis, and I drag from here to here and press enter. So the average ticket price is $98.40. I click here and I say, yep, the formula equals average, the B2 through B6. Now you might wonder, like, why not just pull out the calculator and do that yourself? Well, first of all, it might turn out that I was making a big spreadsheet that had 400 entries. And this is much simpler. I can just drag here and do it that way. The other great thing is that I'll come here to this one, and I'm going to change this from $77.89 to, just to make it obvious, $348.65. When I press enter, watch these two values. They automatically updated. So if this is equal to the sum of those, when I change this, it automatically changes this as well. And that's very, very convenient. I'm going to press Control Z to undo that. So that's why we do formulas. In order to make this a little bit easier to read, let's go ahead and select everything we have from A1 to B9. And let's add some border here. So I'm going to click on the little down arrow next to borders, and I'm going to indicate that I want all the borders all the way around. Okay, and that'll make it easier for us to track from left to right. The last thing we're going to do is create a graph. So what I'm interested in having a graph of is the actual individual prices of the different parks. I'm not really interested in having the total or the average on my graph. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select from A1 down to B6. And I'm going to go over to the chart button, or insert chart button. And you can go ahead and get a quick preview of these, but the ones that are going to make the most sense as I'm trying to compare different prices will be something like this one, and I'm going to go ahead and press insert. I'm just going to slide that down so it doesn't obscure anything. And what it automatically did, it did price versus theme park. It figured that out for me. It automatically put the values in, and it figured out that the blue bars actually indicate price. You could come in here and actually change this. Price at various theme parks. And you could actually change all these things. You could, for example, put that at the bottom to free more space up. So now you've made a simple spreadsheet. You've done it using some simple formulas, sum and average, and you've created a chart. Go ahead and turn this into Google Drive. Don't take a screenshot, because if you take a screenshot, I can't open it up and actually look inside of here to see that you've actually done the formula. Go and actually go to Google Drive, go to Jupyter Grades, and turn in your actual spreadsheet itself.